Hey, what's up, ecosystem? Does your business accept credit cards? Would you like to talk to a credit card processing payment expert? Well, bring your questions and buckle in. It's Tuesday nights live on Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host. Welcome back to the show. Hey, how's everybody doing? Welcome back to Auto Transport Intel. I'm Jay, your host, and I welcome you back to Tuesday Nights Live. So it is Tuesday night. I appreciate you guys coming back in. Listen, if you're new to the show, I'm going to tell you what's going on. But if you are a regular, thank you for coming back, and I do appreciate it. It does mean a lot. So here's the lineup, folks. I ran the Welcome Car Hauler. It's now about 8:02. We're 2 minutes into the live show. In a few minutes, I'm going to say hello to the live chat because the live chat is a big part of the show. Listen, if you can live chat, say hello, ask a question, participate, make the featured interview feel welcome, talk to the live panel, crack a joke, whatever you need to do. It is good to hear from you guys, so we really do appreciate that, and I'm going to say hello. About 10 minutes into this show, listen, if you want to skip ahead on your timeline, you're in YouTube and you just want to skip to the right part, I'm telling you the rundown at 10 minutes in is industry news. This is the Facebook memes and there's information and news, actual news, right? News. We'll talk about that. Recap some funny stuff, and that's what we do in the industry news. And after that, actually, I've got this new segment that I'm still working up. It's the car hauling news, state of car hauling today. So we're going to be doing that too. At 25 minutes into the show, we're going to talk to Ty for 5 minutes. We're going to do CTS Business Coaching 5-minute update this week. That's going to be great. And then our featured interview at the half-hour mark is we're talking with Faith of Signature Card. She is our credit card processing payment expert. She's going to give us a 30-minute live interview, answering questions, going through the program, going through explaining why she wants to get involved in auto transport because she has a background in it. So I think you're going to want to hear what she has to say. And then we're going to open it up into the live panel. And our live panel tonight, we're going to have Kandy back from Jaxport Storage. She's down in Jacksonville. She's a friend of the show. If you're a regular here, you know who Kandy is. And we've got a new one in the live panel. We got Mark at SuperFlo Systems. Actually, Mark is an upcoming advertiser in July. Actually, if you saw my summer ad special go out, Mark is signing up. SuperFlo Systems. We're going to hear from him. His interview is in about a month. So we're going to learn more about SuperFlo Systems, but we're going to meet Mark tonight. So I appreciate you guys sticking around for that. So it's 8:04. I am 1 minute ahead. I'm going to try to stay ahead on time. I got the groovy internet numbers background happening because we're talking about credit card processing. It's not the most exciting topic, but it is a necessary topic. And when you start to look at it, if your business accepts credit cards, if you've been doing it a while, there may not be much in this show for you, and you can move on to the next show. But if you are thinking of accepting credit cards or trying to weigh, there's a bunch of new internet options, right? I think you're going to want to check this out to learn maybe why you also want to accept credit cards as well. So let's do this. Let's go into hello live chat. I got several chats to say hello to in here. Ty got in here first. Now Ty, here's the secret: is Ty is in the green room. You guys know what the green room is? In TV days, there's a room before you actually go out on stage with Dave or Jay or Jimmy or Conan. And that's the green room. That's where you hang out. Well, Ty is sitting in the green room right now waiting to come out for his 5 minutes to shine and let you know what's going on. So Ty, thank you so much. Is this where you find credit cards? It's a throwback. Is this where you find all the cars? Love it, Ty. Love it, man. Matt from Anytime Towing. No, car warranty. My records indicate your time is up. It's the land of Super J coming to save car hauling. Well, not exactly. I'm not here to save car hauling, although I'm sure there's some folks thinking that I am saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm really not saying that. I can't even save dispatching, so I certainly can't save car hauling. But I am here to talk about the state of car hauling. I don't think anybody's doing that on a regular basis to the masses, and so that is the goal. That's what we're going to try to do. Miguel Valley, hey, what's up, Miguel? How you doing? Welcome back to the show. Appreciate you tuning in. Ty says hello to Matt. Hey, Wendy's back on the show. Hello, Wendy. You love the show? Thank you so much. It means a lot. I appreciate that. I really do. Mark of Trucking Answers is here. Background of the future. Sure. Right. Thank you, Mark. Man, Mark is doing great. If you haven't checked out Trucking Answers, you've got to. It's on YouTube, put in Trucking Answers, and sign up, subscribe, click the notification bell so you never miss a video. He's live every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks for over an hour. Trucking questions at the wazoo. If you got a freight trucking question, that's where you go. You got a car hauling question, you talk to us. Okay. Hey, what's up, Mark, says Ty. Kimberly's here. Hey, Kimberly, thank you so much, sweetie pie, for monitoring the back end of the stream. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything you do. And thanks for participating with the live chatters. It means a lot. So thank you. Mark says, hey, Ty, I'm here to learn about buying used cars. Interesting. We're going to actually talk about segments of the market in my Car Hauling Today segment. So Matt's talking, Mark's talking. Let's skip ahead. Oh, you like the background? Cool. It is kind of trippy, right? And it's not the Matrix. There's no infringement here. It's not the Matrix. It's the Automatrix. Okay. Silver Mint says hello. Hey, what's up, Silver Mint? Welcome back to the show. Thanks for saying hello. Means a lot. And I love your participation. Good stuff. Really good stuff. Really thoughtful. Yeah, I have a green room now. Exactly. I have a virtual green room. It's so cool. Hey, Sue says hello. Hey, what's up, man? Thanks for tuning in. And of course, it's Marcus from Exclusive Luxury Transport saying what's up to you and everybody on the show. Well, hello to you, Marcus from Exclusive Luxury Transport in Las Vegas. I now always do the voice because it's a thing now. So, if you want to be part of the show, maybe, there's something in there for you too. Bill Bad Apples, what's up, guys? What's up, Bill? Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining the show. Means a lot. Really does. I mean, I'll take every viewer I can get. I'll tell you, it seems like I've created kind of a confusing show for many people. I'm not saying I'm here to save car hauling. I know that, I'm not. And when we were presented at Auto Haulers Association, I confused several people. I also know there's several companies that said, I don't know why I would watch your show. And I said, you got a good point there. And I'm going to prove why eventually you actually will watch the show. So it's no problem. I don't need every show out there either. I really don't. I'm not flipping houses. I'm not going to be a professional chef. So every show is not for everybody. But I think there is a lot of value here, and I think we're trailblazing, folks. I think we really are. Trucking Answers out the wazoo. That's awesome, man. I never know what I'm going to say sometimes, so thank you. Audio Driver, thank you. You love the content. That means so much. And I get emails every day thanking us for what we're doing, and it means a lot. It really does. And Ty, yes, exactly. Me, and in case you don't know this, when we went to the Mid-America Truck Show, it was me and Ty and Kimberly. We drove up, we drove back. We're doing it again in 2020, guys. So pack your bags. In fact, we're already trying to figure out what's going to be the booth situation. It's amazing. So we're at 8:10. All right, it's time to get to industry news. That was perfect. Thank you guys so much. All right, we try to run a tight ship here. Listen, I know you guys are running a tight truck, so I'm trying to run a tight show. Okay, and that, folks, is how to use your turn signal. It seems like it's pretty complicated, right? It's really complicated. I saw this great video. I hate it when I can't share a Facebook post. It was a video of like, it was when they see the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park intercut with somebody using their blinker. Oh, man, that was fantastic. I loved that. All right, so speed is checked by radar. Now, in case anybody doesn't know, anybody under like 40, I don't know, under 30, Radar was a character on a show called MASH, and he was a funny guy. In fact, speed limit enforced, this one's enforced by aircraft, and he's going to shoot you down. So I think it's probably better to have Radar from MASH than a fighter jet. If you belong in this bathroom and you follow my daughter into that bathroom, you're going to need this bathroom. So, that's just, I guess that's good, clean fun. It's borderline. Definitely borderline. This is borderline too. I need a wife, but this time it's part-time, weekends only. Leaves a phone number. His license plates and everything. Man, that was on Facebook. I got it off Facebook. I'm thinking this is what his tires look like. Okay, okay. It's not even, that's sick, Jay. It's sick. But back to the bathroom jokes. Okay. Speaking of holes in tires, New Jersey to Mass, 5 vehicles, 17 cents a mile. Can you see that? 17 cents a mile. And it's got to be delivered by 5. Or he's going to lower the price. He's going to dock you $50. Boy, that deal gets better and better. Sign me up. Honey, give him a call, quick. First year in business, I'm thinking of getting out of it, selling my truck and flatbed. I hate it when the titles are in the way. There we go. How about that? See, I could do that because I'm the switcher. See, and then it's off center. Don't you hate that when you're just persnickety? And I'm interested in let's say, anyone interested in helping me sell out. I have a 15 Freightliner 2019 flatbed. I'm just wondering if it's worth keeping running or just drop and do other things. Any advice? No smart remarks, please. Now, this is real, and it's relevant because, well, I guess we're going to get into that. It's definitely relevant, and it's real. Here we go. Okay, so this was posted. Bloodbath for the $800 billion trucking industry as freight volumes raise. And, oh my gosh, the U.S. trucking industry has not experienced a downturn of this magnitude since the last financial crisis. Sheesh. Is this real? Spot market fell a 62% compared to last year. Okay, so this was posted. This is real. This was last week. In fact, according to Zero Hedge, the number of new orders for heavy trucks in May was down a whopping 70% compared to a year ago. All right. Okay, so that's bad news. Okay, that's bad news. You guys saw that? That's bad news. This is recent news. What was that? This weekend? 7 killed. Did you know this? Okay, I've seen in the research that this guy, he worked for a car hauling company in Massachusetts. Bad, We don't know what happened. It's bad all around. Sucks, man. This sucks too. Co-driver resting in sleeper berth loses life in crash. How do you like them apples? That sucks. Okay, this sucks too. It's not as bad as the other two. Still kind of bad. That was recent. Oh, this happened the other day. At least 85 cars destroyed by fire at South Bakersfield CarMax. You guys hear that one? There was a video going around of cars on fire at a CarMax in Bakersfield. What happened there? I heard something about a brush fire, but how do you have a parking lot of cars on fire? I don't know, man. And then there's this. Did you guys see this one? Freaking four-wheeler drives into a... this is a horse trailer. And I don't think it was empty. Okay. That's bad news, dude. I saw this. So there's a violation for idling. Look at this. They give you 3 minutes and he was idling for 5. Wow. Okay, I'm gonna put that under bad news. That sucks. That sucks. This is potential bad news. This is forward-looking bad news. Could be bad. Might work out. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's why I took the picture, though. Now, this is not bad news because these guys know what they're doing. But that is, if you don't know what you're doing, that could be, right? You can hardly even see, dude. It's crazy. All right, this is more bad news. This is bad news. We're actually going to be doing this is a future show. I believe in 2 weeks. Is it 2 weeks? I think it's 2 weeks. I got to check the schedule again, but we're gonna be doing a live show with folks involved in trying to sort this out and educate. They're not lawmakers, but they are involved in the process, talking with FMCSA, and they want to help. They want to help get us informed. If you don't know this, man, in January next year, there is a serious, heavy new law coming, dude. This is bad news, dude. Finally some good news. Okay, well, this is happening next month. Ty and I are going to be there. And we are going to be there and share the information with you guys. In fact, I think there's a Tuesday night in there, which means I think I'm going to be live from Raleigh in a month. I don't know what that'll be like. But this is going to be very interesting. Lots of corporate folks talking at a executive level about the automotive industry. And I'll tell you what, like I was saying before, maybe this show isn't for everybody, but I'll tell you what, if you're an executive, yeah, the show's going to start being for you, because here's another one. Finished Vehicle Logistics, there's another show. Ty and I are going to be at this in Baltimore, August 6th through 7th. We already have our passes. And, yeah, thank you, Finished Vehicle Logistics. Thank you, Automotive Logistics. Thank you, our friends across the pond, for inviting us. I'm telling you, the information's about to get pretty real up in here. By the way, if you are looking for work, first of all, talk to Ty. All right? But if you are looking for work, and let's move this too. There is a lot of stuff that they want you to, future employers want you to have. All right? Start, just thumbing down that list, right? Okay? But they are going to provide the equipment, but they do expect you to be trained and already have experience. Look at that. 2 years minimum, clean record, etc. So here's Lisa's phone number. If you fit the bill and you're interested and you're in the Cleveland area, there's your other caveat. They have some lanes running out of Cleveland, but that's pretty much where the home base is. There's Lisa's number, and of course you can check in with Ty, and he can help you get connected. And if you get all of that done, then you can enjoy the weekend, right? Isn't that the goal? Our goal is to enjoy the weekend, and I like this. I saw this on Facebook. Nice conversion there. That's pretty sweet, dude. We all want to have a cookout in the name of business. So, cookout in the name of business should be our next segment. Speaking of, all right, I got 5 more minutes. All right, let's talk some business. Car hauling today. What is going on, right? What is going on in car hauling? A lot of people contact me through email the most, but I get a lot of YouTube comments on the blog, people call. They want to know more about car hauling. They want to know more about hauling cars. And they hear that they can make pretty good money at it, and then they hear that they can get a dispatcher and search for loads on Central Dispatch. Okay? True. You can search for loads on Central Dispatch. You really can. But let's talk about the market. And before we do, dude, there's a lot to get done in the right order. There's the clearinghouse message. FMCSA.gov. You can go there. You can try to figure it out yourself. There are companies that can help you get that figured out. So let's say you complete that piece too. You need to understand the industry, all right? It's divided into segments. OEM, that's new cars, All right. Are you going to be hauling new cars when you start out? No, probably not. Unless you get a job for one of the major fleets. The major fleets work for, there's a limited number of new car manufacturers, and there's a limited number of large fleets. We're talking 1,000 trucks, several hundred trucks. The guys that don't watch this show yet, but they will. We're going to change that. But the secondary market, the automotive aftermarket, is the secondary market. Those are the used cars. The cars, they were all once new. They were once OEM. Okay? So you got new cars, aftermarket. Now, most guys that are just getting into car hauling, they're hauling aftermarket. Those are the used cars. Where do they get their cars, right? And by the way, they've heard of enclosed. You can ship enclosed, right? Here's a picture. You could do that. But you do have to know, you have to really probably already know some car collectors, dealerships. You really probably need to know somebody. If you think you're going to just go to a load board and pick up enclosed cars that need shipping and make a good living, I don't know, man. I wouldn't try that. But, there's people try everything. You're going to be an open car hauler. Now, that is not the trailer you're looking for, by the way. That is more of a utility trailer. You're looking for, 3-car wedge, 4-car wedge, or, if you're ready for more, and this is where Ty comes in. We're going to talk to Ty in a few minutes. But I'm setting up, again, if you're researching the car hauling industry, I want you to understand what you're looking at. Now, this is where the cars are. Auto auctions, dealerships, railheads. Now, railheads, ports, those are mainly OEM new cars. But auto auctions, full of used cars. I think you're going to find some like off-lease, almost new. But anyways, auto auctions, that's where you're going to find most of the cars. Again, are the auto auctions the load boards? Not necessarily, but maybe. So let's throw in a curveball. Let's look at it from the side of the consumer. Now, consumers are seeing stuff like Carvana, TrueCar, CarMax, Carfax. They think they're buying cars online. Well, how do they get their cars moved? By car hauler. The cars don't drive themselves yet. And the trucks don't drive themselves yet. And I'm not sure when that's going to be. But I still think we got a lot of car hauling industry in us to talk about and learn, right? So, but if you want to understand how auctions are working in the future, I think you want to understand more about how people are buying their cars. And again, this is personally owned vehicles as opposed to the dealership cars, the OEMs. But I do want you to understand different sides of it. I know it's possible. You're sitting there right now going, Jay, I know all this. Well, let me tell you what you may not know. Did you know that Ready Auto Transport now lets you view your electronic bill of lading in the dashboard? That's new. That is new. In fact, if you are in the car hauling software space right now, there is a lot of new happening. And that's what I really do want to keep talking about. And that's, I think, one of the main functions of this show moving into the weeks and months ahead, is that there are mobile apps, there are TMS, transportation management software packages, there are load boards, there are load notifications, there are broker tools, there are CRM tools to manage your customers. These different car hauling software pieces represent different parts of the puzzle. Now, there's some folks working on the full enterprise ship, although it's a lot to put together. So I want to say this. Ultimately, if you find something that works for you, use it. I'm going to continue interviewing people that work in car hauling software, that have car hauling software services for you to buy, use as your business platform, rely on, manage your customers. And this is an open platform. I am not going to be exclusive to any one company, but I am offering advertising to some companies that want to participate in this channel. There's a lot to talk about, and so that's one of the things that, yes, I do believe Auto Transport Intel will be bringing you that car hauling news, and it's important because if you are planning on opening a business or continuing a business, and you're not using car hauling software, I think you're going to slowly fall behind, because I tell you what, the people using the internet to buy their car expect the people in the business of car hauling to be using the latest technology. And so that means the people that are providing them a service are going to expect you to use the technology as well. All right, that's the state of car hauling. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to switch the camera. While I do, I got a question for you. Oh, yeah, there we go. Hey, if you are researching a car hauling business, what are you going to do? Who are you going to call? I know who you're going to call. You're going to call CTS Business Coaching. That is the question of the day. So let's do this. Let's bring in Ty. Let's do. Okay, so I'm going to close that. Ty, I'm bringing you in from the. I'm bringing you in from the green room right now. Okay, dude.
Hey.
Hey, man.
How's it going?
What's up?
Just been running hard.
I know. I saw your videos.
Oh yeah, the ones I did today.
Yes, I did.
Cool. Well, I know we've got a short amount of time, so first I need to thank Shaggy Express. Shaggy, good friend of the show, had me on his show a couple of weeks ago, and met him down in Dallas. Or no, that was Louisville, right?
Right. We met him in March. You met him in March.
Yeah, super cool guy. And anyway, getting to know him more and more, and he had me on the show, and I actually got in trouble on his show. Did I tell you that?
I know a little bit about it, but I watched it back. I'm telling you, man, you're clear.
Well, no, I definitely need to be a little more kind. So I'm working on my kind skills and trying to help people. But anyway, Shaggy, this guy knows trucking. I mean, knows trucking like ridiculous. And I've even been watching his shows during the day and stuff, just catching bits and pieces that I'm finding helpful for me. So I want to tell Shaggy, thank you for having us being a part of what we're doing and allowing us to be a part of what you're doing, really.
So what's going on with Nashville?
Well, that's where I was going with that. Shaggy invited us. He's doing a show in Nashville the 27th and 28th. He was kind enough to said, hey, if you guys want to have a car hauling little conference on Friday, come on down. So him being kind like that, we've got Dave Williams, which he's a fan of the show. Actually, I met Dave through you on this show. And he's going to bring his truck and trailer. We've got a couple other guys that we've coached that may be bringing a truck and trailer. And then I'm going to even try to reach out to Mannheim down there and see if maybe we can do a tour for some of the.
Wow. So that's a great idea.
Yeah, and I think I can pull that off pretty easy, really. And then Sun Country came up today.
Yep.
Sun Country their name may pop up. So what are we doing down there? Kind of the way that I'm setting, this is new for me, new for ATI, CTS. I love to talk to people. I love to help people as much as I can. And so we're just calling it kind of the basics, the 101, what's car hauler? What's equipment? What do I need? Do I need to get my MC? Do I need to go lease on to somebody? And do I get a broker's license, or where do I find cars? Some of the things I just heard you talking about, and we talk about dealers. I've broken it into 5 categories, and I try to encourage people why you need these 5 categories of car dealers.
Yeah, tell me. Tell us 5.
Yeah, you've got the new car store with the used car lot. You've got your independent car lot. You've got your buy here, pay here. You've got your wholesaler, and you've got your rental car companies. I'm sure there's plenty more, and I'm sure there's plenty less. But I know these 5 real well, and I know how to work them real well. And I know how to tell people how to go find these people, what questions to ask, who to talk to. And then if the door keeps getting closed, we know how to go look. If they're already using somebody and they're a big organization, that somebody always needs help. And how to find out who they are and go offer your service to them and come alongside them and help.
And you are all right. And so I'm gonna do a 1-minute recap here. You are, every single day, you're either coaching people, follow up on calls. You're out and about meeting with folks, right?
Yeah.
It's nonstop. Just like every day it's mind-blowing the people we're talking to now, like just showing AIS and FBLIE ads, and that we're at both shows.
Yeah, I know. And that's crazy.
Dude, this thing's blowing up, and it's not. That's why I'm talking about it. It's not a joke. Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm so excited about some of the people we're going to meet at these shows.
Yeah, me too. And I think really what excites me the most in these guys, you know, we make fun of big carriers. We make fun of Cox, Central Dispatch, Odessa. I mean, I know I make fun of all of them.
I know.
But the reality,
I'm gonna have a big bowl of crow at AIS. Yeah, dude.
The reality of it is that as we talk to these people and we start learning more, they're just people, man. And they need help and they need what we capacity. You remember Derek, right? Central Car Delivery Network. Derek,
absolutely.
He really rammed it home for me. He said, Ty, the word you need to use is capacity. I'm like,
right. That's right.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Totally.
So,
Well, and I contacted FBL because CDN kept saying it. I'm like, all right, fine. I'm just gonna call.
Yeah.
Let's do this.
And it's fun too. I mean, you know, it's the audience probably doesn't realize that Jay and I are basically starting a business also. And so Jay have these long talks. I'm like, Jay, you know, this is interesting because I'm really telling all these people that we're coaching throughout the course of a day and a week and a month, I'm telling them the same thing I'm telling you and you're telling me, which is we talk to people, we shake hands, we send emails, we are on the phone, we're always digging.
It is the key, right? Just keep talking to people, keep learning. And that's why, and I say it too, is that if you've got a successful business and you don't need advice, that's fine. There are some people in that situation. But I do know, with all the changes between the market and technology, more and more people all the time are finding that they need to get control of what's happening.
Yeah, you know, I had a great idea last night that I think you and I need to talk about tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and throw it in here. I think we're safe. But
cool.
I was thinking about this Nashville show, and I thought, you know, I had a fleet. I had 20 drivers. I would love to send my 1 or 2 or 5, however many drivers I could, to something kind of like this. That it just lays out the basics. It's the fundamental. Yeah. All the things that a driver stands there and just, you know, he's like,
but and
it's the way it works. And I thought, man, wouldn't it be great if I was a fleet owner to have a place where I could send my guys and I could say, just listen to what this guy says. You'll learn something.
The problem is everybody's so busy working that to get, hey, do me a favor. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say this. That is Faith. Because I said signature card. That is Faith, and I'm gonna be inviting you in 1 minute here, Faith, because I'm just wrapping up with Ty. But I want to say this is that people are so busy earning a living that to get a trailer to coordinate to be there, like that's really hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean. Yeah. Unless you live in that city, that's pretty tough to coordinate. But if you can pull it off, I know that everybody would appreciate it. So, dude, parting thoughts. I got to get to the featured interview.
Well, just thank you for your show, and thank you, Shaggy, for your show, and thank you both for investing in me and our community and the trucking world. I think it's really cool. Thank you.
You know, Ty, thank you, man, for your friendship and everything you contribute. The stuff that I just showed in car hauling today, you're responsible for some of that, and you know, so it means a lot. Plus, to be at auto haulers, and you know, tag teaming and talking. I mean, it was amazing. It was amazing. So I'm really looking forward to continuing this journey. So thank you, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, buddy. I'll see you soon. Okay, thank you. Bye. Peace. All right, so listen, you guys, I am going to, we're going to hear from Sun Country Trailers. They're going to be with us next month, so stick around, and we'll be back with Faith at Signature Card Services.
When it comes to creating quality car haulers, precise engineering and expert manufacturing is key. Since 1986, Sun Country Trailers specialized in manufacturing industrial-strength commercial haulers to fit every need. Each Sun Country Trailer car hauler is built with hand-cut steel and precision parts for consistency and craftsmanship you can rely on. Once built, each hauler is sandblasted in a rich powder finish, after which the hydraulics and wire expertly installed. Before leaving our manufacturing facility, each car hauler undergoes a stringent inspection using a checklist and build sheet to ensure premier quality results. Need something unique? Choose among our wide range of upgrade options for a versatile car hauler that meets your precise needs. Our experienced service department is able to help you with any repairs, maintenance, and replacement parts your Sun Country trailer may need. And because we stand by our industry-leading quality, each Sun Country trailer is backed by a 1-year warranty on both the structure and all non-wearable parts. Learn more online at suncountrytrailers.com or call us today at 866-887-2453.
What is Form 2290? Well, if you drive a heavy highway vehicle that weighs 55,000 pounds or more. Hey, mic check 1 2.
All right, how are you? How's our light? Is everything fine?
Good, yes. I know I was running a few minutes late there, but me and Ty always have a lot to say. So thank you for waiting. Thank you for joining us tonight. Okay, so you are Faith with Signature Card Services. Please introduce yourself to the folks.
All righty, my name is Faith Taylor. I'm with Signature Card Services. Basically, we do credit card processing for certain verticals. One of the verticals in particular would be auto hauling, moving companies, dispatching companies, brokers for moving companies, brokers for auto hauling companies. And then we also have several other different verticals that we work with. Basically, I can give you a little bit of my background and history.
Yeah,
why
please.
I am so fond of this vertical in particular, and it's simply because I came out of the auto broker industry. Basically, I was an auto broker for about 9 years. And during that time, I was an auto broker. Plus, I also did a little bit of brokering for auto hauling companies and auto transporting companies. And I kind of saw what the ins and outs were. And I learned how, once I got into this industry, to basically cater to people that whose seat I used to sit in, whose seat I used to, come into the office and all of a sudden our funds had been held. Come into the office and all of a sudden our account had been turned off, or whatever the case may be. So that's basically why I got into this vertical.
Right, and so, in fact, you found the show, right? You found my show?
I found your show, yes.
Okay,
so,
cool. Thank you. Thank you.
It's very important to always stay up to date on what's important for the various verticals that I work with. So I'm constantly always doing research, trying to see, what the new laws are, what the new pain points are, what's really going good in the various verticals. And while I was doing some research a couple of weeks ago, I actually came across your page, and I looked at a couple of your videos, found them very interesting, reached out to you on LinkedIn, you responded, we got on the phone together, came to a conclusion that, we had some similar interests when it comes to this auto hauling, which is basically to make sure that auto transport companies have everything that they need to be successful. And you invited me on your show, and here I am.
And what's cool is that, number one, Ty is also responsible for getting me more involved in LinkedIn. I was kind of not paying attention to LinkedIn. I was more focused on Facebook and YouTube. And I've already done shows where I talked about social media. We keep talking about networking. I mean, it seems like every 5 minutes we talk about networking, talking to people, and social media is a great way to achieve that. I mean, without social media, we wouldn't be talking right now.
And that is so true. But social media has brought us a long way. Even when I think back to when I got in auto brokering, back then we were basically answering telephones, getting online if we needed to move a car. We didn't have like the central dispatch back then. We actually had pages and pages of transport companies that we'd worked with over the years. And we would literally call each and every transport company, hoping that we could get their car, our car on their truck, hoping that they were actually in California or going to where we needed our cars to go.
Can you think of a year for what you just said?
I started auto brokering, I'd say right around 99, 2000.
Right, because Central Dispatch, and when I, looking in the books of lore, like Game of Thrones, you blow off the book. I think in early 2000s is when the original creator of Central Dispatch began putting it together because of what you said. And by the mid 2000s, it was established as that's what people used.
Exactly. When we first started using Central Dispatch, it was a godsend in actuality. Yeah. And it's because it saved us a lot of time. It saved us a lot of time from having to go out and again make call after call after call, looking for a driver to, pick up our load. I don't know if I shared this with you, but when we first started using Central Dispatch, they didn't even charge us to use Central Dispatch.
Right.
Now, everybody's charged for using Central Dispatch. But back then, because we weren't haulers ourselves, but we were literally just looking for truckers to take our load, we were able to go on, find truckers, list our cars, everything, and there was no charge for it. So it was a different day back then.
So, in fact, I think that's a good segue. In fact, you pay for Central Dispatch by credit card. I think that's how most people pay for Central Dispatch. In your dealings, even back then when you were, when it was hard to find a car hauler, where did credit card transactions enter your business? I mean, as a broker, like you were using them with shippers, is that right?
Correct. So basically, if I had a client, let's say, back then, let's see what was really popular would be the, not the PT Cruisers, the little Mini Coopers were really
popular. That's right, they were.
Super popular in specific areas. But then there were the, off the beaten path areas that really could care less about a Mini Cooper. So states like California loved them. They were on back order. States like New York on back order. But if you went to, let's say, Missouri, they could care less about it. So one of my clients, say, was in California, wanted a Mini Cooper. They were already willing to overpay because they were overpaying the dealerships for them. So if they could get their Mini Cooper in, 2 weeks rather than 6 months, we would get that car out of Missouri. And I look for a hauler on Central Dispatch. We find that hauler, get a deposit, say, let's see, back then that trip probably was about $400 or $500. We probably put $150 on there.
As a deposit, you take a deposit. And you use the credit card to take the deposit, right?
Exactly. So we use the credit card to take the deposit, get the load picked up, and once the vehicle got to the location, either the card holder would pay them by cash, or a lot of them would want to pay by credit card when their cars actually got to the location. But back then, that was 10, 15 years ago. Truckers weren't carrying mobile devices. They didn't have the flexibility to be able to accept a credit card.
Right. And so, but in this case, let's diagnose this scenario. You're basically functioning as the broker, right?
Correct.
And you're working with individual shippers, which is your end customer that needs a car moved.
Yes.
Whether it's an individual or a dealership, right?
Correct.
And then you've got the carrier that actually moves the car, but you're the one that has the business. The broker has the contract with the shipper, and to secure that contract, one of the steps is to get a deposit by credit card.
Correct.
And I was going to say, was there...
As a broker, you're contracting with the buyer of the vehicle as well as the seller of the vehicle. And you're contracting with the person that's delivering the car. So I would arrange either from the dealership or from the buyer their auto transport. I would get the transport company, I would arrange the pricing, do everything. I would then have a contract with the pickup person, whether it be the dealership or Mr. and Mrs. Smith. And then I'd also have a contract with the auto hauler.
Right.
And at the end of the day, what was most important is that car getting picked up on time, that car being delivered on time, and everybody getting paid.
And in this situation, were there many situations where the carrier delivering the vehicle was collecting COD on delivery, or did it all remain in the credit card and the broker paid the carrier?
No, we never collected the carrier's money. The
Okay.
carrier, they want their money. When you deliver a car, you want to be able to get payment for delivery of that car. So I was thinking about a contract that I recently saw one of my clients had, and I really liked it because it was an ironclad contract. I mean, he dotted all of his I's and crossed all of his T's in the contract. One of the things that I liked about his contract is he's a broker. So he had his initial deposit, which, is whatever, $200.
Yeah.
He took that over the phone via credit card. When the trucker got to the location to pick up the vehicle, he actually had a place in the contract where he could write in half the payment was due at that time. So let's say the balance was $800. So when you got there to pick up the vehicle, $400 was due. And then the balance of $400 was due upon delivery of the car. So what that does is it opens the door so that the truckers, have more, liquid money to be able to spend.
Right. And control. I mean, and that's it.
Exactly.
We do. I hear it all the time. And so I was a dispatcher. That's kind of how I got into car hauling. And as a dispatcher, working with load boards, working with drivers, basically I was a guy staring at central dispatch all day for several drivers, booking cars, and drivers many times felt like the broker was holding all the cards because they had the customer, they had the shipper, they had the money, they had the information, and they would just give pieces of information to the driver as they needed them, and then maybe even demand like 30, say that's a 30-day pay. You know how you were talking about carriers got COD on delivery?
Yes.
So many carriers working with brokers off of load boards, and really other places too, they're not getting paid COD. It's 30-day pay or 15-day pay. And that's actually longer than 15 days because that's 15 days after the invoice is received.
Well, that's why it's very important to have a credit card account. And it's because you are able to have more control of actually taking delivery of your profit.
Take the money, yeah.
A 30-day invoice or 2-week invoice. And even when I was in the business, 15 years ago, we still made sure that our drivers got paid when they delivered that car. And it was simply because if you don't get paid when you deliver the car, you have more of a chance of getting burned, meaning you're never going to get paid because they already know what they want.
Yeah.
So when it comes to being able to accept a credit card, you're accepting a credit card for that deposit. Then with the auto haulers, they're actually accepting a credit card when they're picking the car up. Let's say they want half upon pickup and then the other half upon delivery. And they actually have the car. So they're not going to let that car go until they get their payment. And the simplest way to get a payment is to accept that payment by credit card.
That's why so many drivers, the moment they release the car, they feel like they're giving, their hands are tied now. I mean, they don't have the car, they don't have the money, they did all the work. It's like, it makes them crazy.
But what industry does that these days? What industry will allow you to get full service of whatever you're doing for an individual without any sort of payment? There's really no industries out there. Even if you look at something as simple as buying a home or getting an inspection on your home, an inspector won't even release your report until you pay for it.
Right. Think of like a tow truck driver.
Exactly.
You can't even look at your car until he's got the money.
Exactly. And that's the way that it should be when it comes to auto haulers. Because at the end of the day, you're at the mercy, once that person has their car, you're at the mercy of them making a decision to pay it. Now, I mean, in the research that I've done, there's not like a whole lot of drivers out there being burned. There's drivers out there that are waiting a little too long to get paid, but there are not a lot of them out there being burned. But credit card processing, being able to accept a payment via credit card has made it a lot easier. I have clients, I have, you know, a couple of clients that have been with me for, you know, for the past 7 years, and being able to take that deposit, being able to, and these are owner operators, meaning, I mean, you know what an owner operator is.
Yeah, individuals. Yeah, individual owners that do everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So being able to, you know, pick the vehicle up at the time, well, actually, let me just back up.
They're the most vulnerable, and actually that's most of the car haulers out there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you're able to, you know, find you a load on Central or get a lead from one of the lead suppliers and book a deal, you book that deal, the first thing you want to do is take that person off the market. The best way to take a person off of the market is by getting a credit card deposit. Because if you don't get some sort of deposit, they're not married to you. Meaning the next person that calls them, and most lead generating sources give those leads to at least 9 different carriers.
Right.
Next person that calls them and finds out that, let's say you gave them a quote of $500, you know, they'll say, oh, I'll do it for $450. So you just lost the deal. But if you actually had a deposit with that individual and that person called back, even if they call back to say, you know what, I've decided I'm going to go a different direction, most of the time they'll be real honest with you and they'll tell you someone else is paying, you know, giving me $450. You can make a decision at that time if you're willing to go ahead and cut your price down to $450. But if you don't have a deposit, guess what? You'll never hear from that client again.
And you just made me think, even there's times where you can have the dispatch, you're on your way to get the car, and they did give it to another driver because he said, I'll do it for $50 less.
Mm-hmm. How many times have drivers showed up at the same time to pick up the same vehicle?
Actually, I've heard of that one.
And it really sucks because, and forgive me for using that language, but it's really unfair because these haulers sometimes are going, you know, 200-300 miles outside of their way in order to pick up your car, and they get there and someone else has already picked up the load.
It more than sucks because you've lost time, money, and now sanity. I mean, it's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that was one of my reasons, as I discussed with you before, of why I made this one of my verticals, one of the areas that I wanted to make sure that I was an expert in, that I was able to provide for my client, make sure that we're able to connect them with the proper banks, make sure that I'm able to get them the proper software that they need, as well as the best equipment that they need, and make sure that I'm able to put them in a situation where they're not waiting for their money. What happened?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, because of your knowledge of this industry, that's what makes it so powerful to have you on in this niche industry, because you know the industry.
Oh yes.
I mean, that's awesome.
I think I shared with you that you know, back in the early 2000s, with credit card processing, with being in the auto brokering business as well as the transport business, you know, unfortunately, auto haulers kind of get a bad rap, and it's because they're considered, you know, it's a niche market. It's a market that can sometimes, and with a lot of financial institutions, be considered a high risk market. So
it is high risk. Yeah, it is high risk.
What I find with auto haulers is their biggest complaint is trying to get a good account. They're trying to get a good account. They're getting turned down. They're being on 3-day holds. They're being required to put up a reserve, or their rates are too high. You know, different things are deterring auto haulers from being able to use one of the best forms of accepting immediate payment that's available today. I mean, there's so many, like the millennials, they don't even have checkbooks. So most of them, when they're ready to move their car, they have a credit card, they're ready to pay.
Everything's a card. Tap the card, throw the card.
Exactly.
Use your eyeballs. I think there's an Apple ad. Or use your watch. Hey, here's a question for you. So Bill, Bad Apples, wants to know, And I know this is on your list of topics. How do you deal with a customer disputing the charge and getting their money back?
That's when you must have an ironclad contract. What I do with my haulers is, in getting you set up with your merchant account, I actually go over the contract that you have between you and the card holder. That contract needs to be very, very specific. It needs to tell you who the client is. It needs to say how much you guys have agreed upon as far as the payment is concerned. It needs to say when the pickup date is, what the grace period is for the pickup date, what the delivery date is, what the grace period for the delivery date is. These are all the type of things that you want to make sure as in your contract. In your contract, you want to say exactly what type of vehicle you're picking up. You don't want to put down that you're picking up an SUV and you're thinking it's a RAV4, and you get there and it's a Lincoln Navigator, because now that Lincoln Navigator is going to take up a space and a half on your truck.
Wow.
So, you want to make sure that you have an ironclad contract and respond to the chargeback. One of the biggest issues that a lot of haulers have is they don't take the time to respond. If you sit, you take the time to respond, you provide all of the information along with the receipt, most of the time you will win that chargeback. And one thing about our service is we're a full service company. So right here in our corporate office, which you see behind me, we have our risk department. We have our chargeback department. So we're able to see when that chargeback comes in. We're able to notify you that you have a chargeback so that we can get the proper information. When we read over your chargeback, sometimes people will put one or two sentences: picked up the car in Nevada, delivered it to San Francisco, accepted payment, and here's a copy of the receipt. Well, you're really not telling the financial institution anything. You want to give them a copy of the email stream between you and Mr. Smith. You want to give them a copy of the receipt, the contract between you and Mr. Smith, the expectations that were set between you and Mr. Smith, so that you can win the chargeback. And it's very sad because in this industry, there's something called friendly fraud. And it unfortunately kind of hits auto haulers and movers a lot more than it hits other industries. And that's simply Mr. Smith, who knows how to work the system. He knows how to take delivery of whether it be, something from mail order or having his car delivered to his front door, and pick up the phone and call his credit card provider and say, I never got it, or I returned it, or whatever the case may be. That's when you get, I like to tell my guys to get, it's a software that's and
I was just gonna say, this is software. There is software, absolutely, where you can take photos, timestamped, geotag. Just like when Amazon delivers a package now, they take a picture of your doorstep and email it to you.
And funny story, I just had something delivered from Amazon. They sent me a picture, and 10 minutes later, I called someone at my house and was like, "Oh, my package is on the front porch." And when I was saying, they were like, "No, it's not." So we're going back and forth. I'm calling Amazon. I'm like all freaking out. Well, one of my neighbors had come and picked the package up for me, but I didn't know it. But that's why it's important.
There's a picture of your neighbor.
That's why it's important to have those additional, sources set up. So within credit card processing, there's like Verify, and there's 3D Secure, and these are software solutions that will capture the individual's identification via the actual computer that they're using. It'll also do checks to make sure that the telephone number that they're putting on the application matches up.
Yeah, you were talking about that. Yeah, the car owner matches the card holder.
Exactly. Oh, yes, yeah. You and I discussed that.
Right. Yeah, I remember that was a good one.
Whenever you're accepting a job, make sure that the person that hires you is the card holder. Because, and I'll give you a prime example. If I hired a hauler to move, let's say, my husband's car, and when they got to the house, I gave them my husband's credit card, I signed everything, and they went on about their business, delivered the car, everything's fine. we can do a chargeback and say he never gave me authorization to use that credit card. And there's nothing that the hauler can do. Does that make sense?
Wow, that's
So
terrible.
you want to make sure that all of that information is lining up. I know that we're running out of time.
Well, we're doing good. Well, here's what we're gonna do. Well, here's the deal. It's actually you're on for another hour. Okay. Okay, good. All right, so we're gonna bring in two in the live panel, but before we get to, we're gonna bring in Mark and we're gonna bring in Kandy. So Mark and Kandy, take a few more minutes here because I don't want to lose these questions. Bill is talking about, okay, so can I have them sign a simple non-dispute at time of delivery? Most hauls don't really have a contract with the receiver. All you really have is a customer that signs a BOL clean and a dispute on the charge claims damage after the fact. And then he's talking about Square. And I know there's several pieces there, but basically what this points out is the reason why we're talking about this is that there are actually many pieces to consider of why, when you do process credit cards, to make sure you have your ducks in a row, make sure you have an ironclad contract. So, and really you do want to get paid faster, because what I want to say is this is too, one of the big problems is getting paid fast enough to where when you're dealing with a broker or you're looking at maybe a factoring company, you're saying, you're like, well, I'll tell you what, I'll do ACH, but I'll pay 10% in fees. Whoa, man. What? That's crazy.
That is.
You don't have to do that. Do not leave 10% of your paycheck just to get ACH. Don't do that.
Not at all. Not at all. You want to have, let me get back to, I think, is his name Bill?
Yeah, Bill. Bad apples. Yeah. Yeah.
Bill, what you want to do is make sure that the language that you have on whatever form that you're having the cardholder sign, that it is language that protects you in the event of a chargeback. The best way to find out if your language is up to the standards set forth by Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover is if you have a lawyer, have them take a look at it. A lot of the times, if you belong to any type of associations, they'll actually have a legal team that will take a look at it. You can even, well, I take a look at their contract to kind of give them the ins and outs of, you know what, this information needs to either be included or this information should be taken out. But you need to be as thorough as possible. And when you're getting that contract is at the time that you're securing the load. So either that contract is between the auto broker and the cardholder, and they have your language covered in their contract, or you have it in your contract that you have with the cardholder. You just have to make sure that they are acknowledging what they're paying for, that they got exactly what they're paying for, that the price was exactly what you guys agreed upon. And one thing that's really good, especially when you're collecting payment at the time of delivery, is utilizing readers. Readers are very inexpensive. Most of them can basically, as long as you have service on your cell phone, it'll sync with your cell phone and you're able to run the transaction. The great thing about having a reader is it's proof to Visa, MasterCard, American Express, and Discover that you had that credit card in your hand.
Right. Yeah, right. Which obviously we don't always have control over that. And I know this too. This is also a big part. And then we're gonna go to break. But as we go to break, this is one of the things is that the brokers who have the customers and the shippers, they're the ones that make the contract. And when it comes to posting a load on Central and the carrier getting the load off of the load board, they have almost no ability to manipulate the contract in their favor in any way, because they're just like, do you want the load or not? Are you taking this or not? I'm leaving, you know? And so in that quick few seconds, you feel so powerless. But the point of talking about it is try to understand how to take the power back. And also, don't be so beholden on the fast game on load boards. Get your own customers. Make good contracts. And that's something that Ty talks about at CTS Business Coaching.
Exactly. And one of the things is once you agree to a load, you will receive the delivery individual's contact
Yeah.
information. One of the first things you want to do is call them and find out how they're planning to pay you because you want to be prepared.
And Bill just said it. That's usually not an option. I have a dispatch sheet and a receiver paying for the load because the broker put it together. This is really a tough topic. I don't think there's some easy peasy solution. But we do know this is that accepting credit cards as payment for your business can greatly help you regain some control over how much your fees, your speed, and the integrity of the transaction. So do me a favor, stick around. I'm gonna run. We're gonna hear a word from. This is Brian Riker. He does DOT compliance. We're gonna hear a word from Brian, and then we're gonna come back to the panel. Okay, so stick around.
Hey guys, Jay at Auto Transport Intel here. Listen, don't wait until it's too late to get FMCSA and DOT compliant. You need to take care of that right away. The best way to do that is to go visit my friend Brian Riker at Fleet Compliance Solutions. Now, you can go to Fleet Compliance Solutions LLC, or you can also visit him at yourdotguy.com. And here he's got services to help you out, whether you're a single owner operator or a fleet. You can contact him and ask him you can get US DOT compliant, applying for your authority right off, or if you're going to be audited, you're going to need help. And he helps you make sure that you navigate the DOT and be fully compliant when you're going through your safety audit.
Totally.
Also, he can help out with safety training, coaching, OSHA, environmental concerns, help you protect your CDL. You can visit him and his staff. Go to fleetcompliancesolutions.net or yourdotguy.com. Talk to Brian. If you need an expert witness, if you're going to end up in court over a problem, you're going to need some help, and he can help represent you. There are links here. Find out more about Fleet Compliance Solutions. And also, he's got articles and information. If you've got specific questions, you can contact him at 570-228-6210. And I highly encourage you to visit Fleet Compliance Solutions LLC, yourdotguy.com. Tell him ATI sent you. Brian is a friend of the show. Thanks.
All right, cool. So we are back now. I got to move some names around here because we have with us now, joining the show. Oh, here, let's we'll bring that back in. We've got we're back with Faith of Signature Card Services. Okay, so if you're just joining the show, and you moved from the 0 to the 1 hour, you're like, I just want to skip ahead. Well, here you are. You've skipped ahead to. We're back with Faith of Signature Card Services. She is our credit card processing payment expert, and then also joining us in the live panel because we're going to continue the discussion. We have Mark of SuperFlo Systems. Mark, can you hear us okay?
I can, Jay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, sounds good.
Nice.
Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you
for joining us. And we got Kandy coming in. But before Kandy gets here, Mark, tell us a little bit about yourself.
About myself or SuperFlo?
Both.
Doesn't matter.
What's the difference?
Myself, I'm a family man, 7 children. I'm a volunteer firefighter for my community. I try to give back. I think when I was talking to you the other day, I was in a fire truck, and we were going to drill. So doing my thing. We have some 4th of July things coming up. It's fun. I enjoy that.
Cool. I didn't know that. Yeah, no, I didn't. Thank you for telling me. I didn't know. That's cool.
There's so many things. And Faith brought up a bunch of really cool topics that I could jump right into business-wise, but I don't know. SuperFlo Systems. SuperFlo Systems is the name of the business that supports Pro Auto Broker Dispatch, Pro ABD, TAQ Pro, which is the Transport Auto Quoter, which is the quoting engine for the apps that want to correctly price vehicles. We have a great recipe for that. I don't even know, you can almost do a show on Transport Auto Quoter. It is such a good tool.
We're going to.
The cool thing about the auto quoter is that it gives the truck what the truck needs to make the move, not what the broker wants to pay. And it is we really have developed a really strong formula for that. It's really, really a great tool.
That's awesome. I'm really excited to talk about that in the future. And let me say this. Hey, Kandy, can you hear us?
Hey, I can hear you well.
All right, so cool. Kandy from JAX Port Storage out of Jacksonville, Florida. She's with us. Kandy, why don't you say hello to the folks?
Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday.
Hello, Kandy.
Hi, Kandy.
It's 10:10. Hey, how you doing?
Cool. And how's everything going on right now in JAX Port Storage and in credit card world?
Well, it's hot. It's Florida, so
Yeah, it is.
everybody's a lot more violent. That's the truth.
Okay. All right.
In credit card world, I have my own share of issues. I don't know if I can name particular names. You didn't tell me that part, Jay.
Well, so I'll tell you what. Here's what we'll do. We will, it's a family show, so we'll leave out brands or company names, anything that's gonna get speculative. But what kind of topics, what kind of issues are we talking about?
Chargebacks, frozen accounts.
Frozen accounts.
Questionable stuff that shouldn't be questionable.
Okay.
I don't know how.
Can I jump right in right there?
Yeah, please. Yes, Faith, jump right in, please.
Something that I meant to talk about earlier is when you're setting up your merchant account, you want to make sure that you're working with someone that's familiar with your industry. That way, when we build your package, we're able to build your package with a solid foundation. That way, when you have a questionable transaction or you have a chargeback or something to that nature, the bank doesn't just jump the gun and close your account. So I was talking to Jay yesterday, and I was explaining to him that I have a hauler who runs, I know he runs at least $80,000 a month with us. Last month was a very, very big month for him. And it happened to also be a month where he was out of the country on vacation. Long story short, yesterday I walked into the office with this man having a total of 19 chargebacks already for the month of July. June, I'm sorry. He had 19 chargebacks for the month of June. So the first thing that most companies are going to do is immediately shut his account down. But what we do here at Signature Card Services is we actually take the time to go in and find out what's the reason. Now, he didn't get 19 chargebacks in one day. He had like 10 last week when I spoke with him and told him, we got to get a handle on these chargebacks. But I knew what the issue was. I knew that he was out of the country. While he was out of the country, his staff took on a bunch of deals that they shouldn't have taken on. They weren't able to move the loads. They, instead of them choosing to hold off on charging credit cards and getting loads handled, they charged credit cards and then tried to get the loads handled, and it caused a bunch of chaos. Now, most companies that don't know the ins and outs of auto transport, they're not going to take the time to find out why all of a sudden is my client who might have 1, 2, 3 chargebacks, all of a sudden they have 19 chargebacks. So that's kind of the difference. And that's the difference when you're working with, and I don't like to throw people up underneath the bus or throw other companies under the bus, but we are an actual ISO, which is an independent company. So when you're working with some of these credit card processors, they're third-party processors, meaning you're working with an aggregator. It's not your own merchant account. That's why they're so quick to shut down your account. That's why they're so quick to hold your funds, because they have a lot of people to answer to in the event that chargeback, doesn't pan out or whatever the case may be. So you want to always make sure that you're working directly with either an ISO or directly with a financial institution. So that way you're working with the person who's working with the individual that makes the rules. Does that make sense?
It does. And a couple of my relationships, they were with those, but the part where about the legal terms, I had an attorney to do it for me, and it was still, I found this out through a really popular how do I say it? Yeah, our third party 3PL. Yes, it even having a contract, having those things in place, like they said, because they are a 3PL, they actually can make the decision. So they have funds on hold for 270 days.
Oh,
and
wow.
It's kind of like a because I said so. So I sent documents in about 3 or 4 different times. Like when you said ironclad earlier, I was thinking, what's ironclad? I thought it was ironclad, and they let me know that it wasn't. But so I'm at their discretion.
There are some processors out there that, again, they're going to hold funds at their discretion. And that's when you want to do your research to find out if the processor that you're working with, what their reviews look like. Most of the time, if you go online and you Google a processor, you'll see holds funds, closes accounts. You'll hear what the public has to say about that processor in particular. So that way you can make a decision on whether you want to take a chance with them or not. Again, auto hauling, moving, Ubers, transportation, logistics as a whole has, it unfortunately is known as a high risk industry. It's a high risk vertical, but you want to make sure that you're working with someone who knows your industry, that knows your vertical, that knows the ins and outs, to make sure that they're covering you as well as the bank. So, for instance, the client that I told you about that had 19 chargebacks as of yesterday, I called him last week to let him know, hey, you have 10 chargebacks. We need to get this under control. And the sad part was when I called him, he was out of the country. He had no idea that he had all of those chargebacks. Wow. And he was like, babe, I'll be back home next week. I'll get right on top of it. When he came back home, I believe it was it was the week before last I talked to him. When he came back home last Tuesday, he immediately shot me over responses for the chargebacks that were actually, chargebacks that he wanted to fight. And then he just didn't respond to the ones that he knew, were actual viable chargebacks that should have either been refunded or should have never been charged in the first place. But that's why you need to make sure that the person that is holding your merchant account is on your team. They're part of, they're an extension of your business. They understand that my client needs their money, and they're willing to go to whatever extreme is necessary in order to get it done.
Yeah. So it's almost, what were you going to say, Mark?
Is Kandy an auto transport broker or a carrier?
Neither really. I would be classified as a carrier. Okay. If I had to take a classification.
Because you run a terminal. Storage. You're a terminal. Right?
Yeah, I run a terminal facility, so I deal with carriers, exporters, brokers, dealers, forwarders, and everybody in between. But my biggest problem, I've got 3 merchant accounts set up with a financial institution, a big one, with QB, and the one that actually took the payment through the website. We had the back office link, but it wasn't any information that we had in our hands. The customers did everything. We had identification, all kind of documents to support. But that company, we run our numbers through there. But I guess I got to say QuickBooks, they took it upon themselves. It was, they asked a couple of questions. We gave them everything they asked for. Then they came back and re-reviewed, 2 years later and say, okay, we don't want you anymore to be able to accept payments through your site or through the back office. And they went back 90 days. They were, 90 days transactions. They reversed them and froze the account.
Wow.
So, just catching up with 90 days of credit card transactions, like going through them one by one, and it's been a nightmare.
I don't know if this would help you. The one example that Faith gave, that the wife used the husband's credit card, and then the carrier delivers the car, gets his signature, they go along their way, A month later, the husband goes, hey, she didn't have authorization to use my credit card. If the carrier would take a picture of the VIN on the vehicle and the registration or the license plate, they can file a lien against that vehicle with the state.
Yep.
Ohio. For us, it's Ohio Bureau of Motor Vehicles in Columbus. And I know guys that have done that. You need the VIN, though. You need the entire VIN, and you can get that just by snapping a picture of that. So that guy in Faith's example may think that he has the one over, and the trucking company is going to go down the road and not be able to do anything because he's 5 states over. But if they file a lien, a mechanic's lien, it's a mechanic's lien on the vehicle, they'll put a lien on the title itself, and when they go to sell it, they'll have, $1,000 or $1,200 lien, whatever your charges were, and maybe some legal fees on top of that. So there are ways to do it, and they think that they got away with it, but in the end, when they go to sell the car, they have a bigger headache than what they thought would happen. Get a picture of the VIN, get a picture of the license plate. That should be something that the drivers should do regularly anyway.
For me personally,
advice.
we have the VIN.
It's really good.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just saying that's really good advice. Even if, even if everything's going smooth, what you just talked about, that's what I like. What's happening is there are all these little ideas that if you haven't thought about how to incorporate this into your business workflow, there's a lot happening here. Little clues as to ways to improve business and protect yourself. Because the day will come where either somebody will defraud you on purpose or be able to defraud you and they didn't even know that it would work.
Right. Exactly. It happens all the time. Can I say something on the broker side?
Please.
On Pro ABD, we have built into our system electronic signature. So when the broker gets the order from the customer, or when the customer places the order online, the customer signs it. They check the box that they agree to the terms and conditions, and the terms and conditions are displayed right there for the customer to view. They check the box, they agree to the terms and conditions, they type their name, they use their mouse or finger on an iPad to electronically sign it. And when that's submitted, it comes back into the broker's system, and it's in a PDF. It can't be changed, so they can print it out. There's no adjustment that could be made. But we capture the person's name, their email address, the IP address from where that it was sent from. So in chargebacks, and as Faith mentioned in chargebacks, that's something that you document and you supply that information to help support your case for the chargeback, and you essentially hopefully will win that. And one step above that we go as well is we have a dispatch authorization, which ties everything together. So the dispatch authorization, it still is electronically, it goes out to the customer, and the broker sends it to the customer and says, I have this transport company. They name the company, the driver's name, to pick up your vehicle, 2015 Honda Accord from Los Angeles, California at this address to Dallas, Texas at this address. We're going to use your credit card that ends in 1234 to charge a $200 deposit, and a COD amount of $700 will be collected by the driver upon delivery. Do you accept that? And the same electronic signature happens. They check the box, they type their name, they sign it, and it submits back to the broker. And in Faith, and she could probably verify that when now you have the electronic signature and you have the 4 digits of the credit card in that authorization, you have a pretty solid case for the chargeback. And not having the card present, as she spoke about not being able to swipe, that the driver should be able to swipe and have that electronic signature. That is pretty solid. And so when you have your merchant processor in your account in ABD, some of the authorizations that you have in your gateway is the validation of you want to match the name, you want to match the address, you want to match the zip code, you want to match the SEC code, and all of those things, even though you don't have the card present, all of those things as they match, that also helps support your case and a chargeback and the documentation that you have. That I know our brokers win chargebacks, and historically in the industry that doesn't happen with all systems.
Well, and I was going to say, being a software creator, as we move forward in the transactional and with the detail of transaction and the way everything is electronic, being a software creator, it's no surprise to me that you know so much on this topic and that you're so wary of it, because as we try to cut out middlemen, right? If you're able to make a software that takes shipper to carrier and remove other levels, brokers and service providers, then the integrity of the software needs to be able to manage this type of payment processing security for both parties.
Exactly. And you talk about, there's a lot of technologies out there, and you've mentioned a lot of them, and Carvana and the other apps. Auto auctions are doing live auctions, and maybe some of that cutting out of the middleman. There are so many opportunities in this industry. Doesn't matter what position you are in the industry, there is a place for you, and you're not getting cut out by technology. You can help improve your business with technology, but there's so much. Even that Carvana situation, that's not cutting people out. There's opportunity there for everybody. There will be auto transport brokers, there'll be carriers. There's, even though that they're go ahead.
It's changing. I don't want to say, just like, here's the thing is what I'm saying when it comes to like driverless trucks.
Yeah. I
think you still have a driver. I think you still have somebody with the truck in one way or another with the truck.
Those are going to be going across a toll road. They're not going to be picking up cars. They're going to go across a toll road, and somebody else is going to pick it up. An actual driver is going to pick it up.
And I haven't said driverless car hauler yet because I don't even know how you do that. But right. But
well, yeah, I don't think you can. There is some technology that will help you.
Yeah.
With one of our guys, Brian, in our office, came up with something that is a sensor that if your chains lose tension, it sends a radio signal back to the cab to let somebody know. So there's some cool things that go on.
As they say, I don't want to get too far into the weeds, but one of the things we're talking about, and here's Ty likes to say this: focus on things that never change. And one of the things that will never change is people exchanging currency.
Exactly. You know what? I wanted to just jump back in really quick. Kandy, the transactions that you've been waiting for, was the chargeback initiated or the hold initiated by the cardholder or by the processor?
No, thank you for asking that. It was by the processor. I had a West African guy. He paid with his visa, his Nigerian visa. Everything was fine. He did it about 3 or 4 times before, and it was just this one transaction. It just set off the first day they sent me a request for 4 different transactions. Okay. And the second day they sent me a request for like 5, and then by the time the week was over, I had requests for 17 different transactions that were all, I didn't swipe on any of them. It was all back office customers, long-term customers.
That's due to that change in your servicer, right?
No, I had been using it. It was just it just happened. And QuickBooks or else the processor.
That's what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because
it wasn't
of them.
A cheat.
No?
Yeah, it was because of them. Yeah, it wasn't anything that we did per se. There was no charge, no dispute or a chargeback. But what they did was come in and look at our transactions, the volume, and they just audited it. And they had a problem with it that they didn't have before when we first did the interview to set up with them. and we have, bank merchant stuff, and we use about 10 different types. We process. If they got it, we accept it as far as payment is concerned. So
it sounds like
international transactions, international trend.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you always are at risk. You're always at risk with international transactions.
And it's actually a transaction that I would normally tell my clients to get a different form of payment. And it's because it is such a high risk and there's so much fraud, especially in certain areas of the world where on the black market, they're selling these credit card information, and they're basically making the money themselves. And by the time someone like you figures it out, or your processor figures it out, sometimes, hundreds of thousands of dollars have been processed. And unfortunately, someone has to pay for it.
And that's true. Manheim, we had a customer go through it with Manheim, where Manheim lost a little under $1 million in inventory because of some stuff like that. So.
And what they basically do is because there's a lot of software that's out there that would be able to pick up that type of transaction. When they go in to do the verification, it'll come back that it's not a verifiable credit card. So it'll give you the opportunity to cancel the transaction. But what people do is they'll go in, they'll see if they can get a transaction through. They'll run a transaction for, $25 today, $25 tomorrow, $50 the next day. And then that's when they start running those bigger transactions, those larger transactions, until they burn out that credit card. And it's unfortunate you have to, go through, that in this case. But had you been my client, I would have told you no.
That's what I was gonna say. You guys need to exchange information.
Yeah, definitely. Right. I took it down earlier.
Okay, good. All right, because that does sound like it sounds like a pretty wild situation. Do you think you can help navigate some of that, Faith?
Well, unfortunately, I can't help navigate with the money that's being handled.
Not the past, but help clear up some of these problems moving forward.
Correct. With the advice that we give to our merchants in order to keep their merchant accounts, from being victims of fraud, because there's fraud out there. There's so much fraud that takes place in these 16-digit credit card numbers. And unfortunately, what I always tell my clients is if it's too good to be true, it's normally not true. So if someone calls you and they're, giving you a ton of business and they have a heavy, accent, there's just certain things that that are red flags that you have to decide, I need to get additional information to validate this transaction before I move forward. I actually had a guy tell one of our clients or one of our potential clients to call us to get a credit card account because he knew that he'd used the credit card with another company that used our system. And when she called me and told me that, I said, don't accept a credit card from him. You want to ask him to give you another form of payment, because I guarantee if you accept that credit card, it may not be today, it may not be next week, it can be 60 days from now. It's going to come back as fraud, and you're going to end up being out of the money.
Wow. It is amazing how there is so much involved in this. So, what would you say? How about this? Let's say you're a driver and you don't have a way to accept credit cards. Maybe you've thought about Square, maybe you're on Cash App. I don't know, but you're trying to improve how you get paid by brokers. What's a way to ease into this?
Well, I would definitely ask them to give me a call. Okay. Consultations are free. I don't charge anything for analysis. And what I like to do is find out about their business, how they're planning to accept credit cards, if they're on the road, if they have an office, if they're doing it online. And from there, I'm able to suggest the best solutions for what their unique environment may be. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah. What's the phone number? It's you gave me a business card. 323-866.
3256.
Okay, that's what I've got. Okay. 323-866-3256. You want to ask for Faith.
Yes.
Right? And your what email address do you use for prospects?
ftaylor, that's
Okay.
F as in Faith,
Okay.
Taylor, Taylor, at signaturecard.com.
Okay. All right. And there's the email address. And for example, I mean, you know, okay, so you gave me some of the information here. Like, here, let's go to it. Let's take a look at some information, right? Because information is power, right? I think that's
Most definitely.
One of the first pieces of info I think says that. Let's see what we got here. Oh, hey, there's Ty. Let's go to signature card services folder. Okay, knowledge is power. Decode your merchant account statement. Find out how much you are overpaying. Oh, so even if you accept credit cards right now, you might be overpaying in fees and whatnot.
Oh, definitely. You like for instance, today I just helped a gentleman. He was with one of my competitors, and I don't want to throw that name out there, but basically, his transactions were costing him between 2.75 and 3.5% across the board. Right off the top, more than likely, I'm going to save him a third of what he's paying. And it's simply because we like to set you up with an account that complements your business style. If you're not, a boutique, then you don't need to accept certain credit cards a certain way. There's different accounts that are available. There's tiered accounts. There's cost plus accounts. A lot of people like to go with flat rate accounts, but flat rate accounts really are not beneficial for auto haulers. And it's simply because the established auto hauler is normally going to process, let's just say an average of $10,000 a month. If you're processing an average of $10,000 a month, there's no reason you should be willing to pay between $275 and $350, basically 3.5% or $3.50 on every $100.
Yeah, no, I hate it. That's why I won't even use ATMs unless I have to. It's just
I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
Why do I have to pay to see my own money? I mean, I just don't get it.
I mean, when it comes to accepting credit cards, there's always going to be a fee that's involved.
Sure,
because
a nominal fee.
Have to get paid.
Yes.
There's a lot of risk that's involved. There's a lot of statements that have to go out. There's a lot of staff that has to be paid. And what a lot of people don't realize is even your credit card in your wallet might be costing the card brand. If you have a credit card and every time you use it, you get, miles towards an airline ticket or you get cash back, somebody's paying for that. So that's why it costs more and more and more for individuals to accept credit cards. But I'm saying all that to say, I would rather find out from my client what his unique situation is, find out how he's accepting credit cards, how we could be of value to them, whether it be by making sure that they get a reader, maybe they're using some type of software solution that we're able to plug into so that they can run that transaction right through their software solution, whatever it's going to take in order to help them lower their fees. So with this individual in particular, he's using a reader and he's basically paying 2.75 per transaction. And if he keys it in, he's paying 3.5%. When you're swiping or dipping a transaction, you can pay as little as 0.75%. That's not even a full percentage on a transaction.
Nice.
And depending upon your volume, sometimes you can pay even less than that. So you want to get with someone that's going to take the time, evaluate your business. If you're already accepting credit cards, do an analysis on what you're currently doing to put you in the best situation. And one of the things like with Signature, it's kind of like we're like Geico. We're going to tell you if we can help you, we can help you. If we can't, we're going to tell you to stay in the position that you're in. So,
question here. Hey, Kandy, what's a good contact info for you?
Phone number?
Sure.
Or it's 904-267-8255. 0011.
All right. Is there a good email address that I can share?
Yes, JAX Port Storage, JAX Port, PORT, Storage, STORAGE @gmail.com. I had a question for Faith too when you get up.
Cool. All right. And before we go to that question, Mark at SuperFlo,
Yes, sir.
how can people contact you?
Direct line 513-870-5595.
Is there a good email address? Yeah.
Yep. Email Mark, MARK, at SuperFlo, FLO. There is no W in flow. FLO Systems with an S. SYSTEMS.com. Mark at SuperFloSystems.com.
Between the information you've got and then somebody said, "What's Pro ABD?" You've already piqued some interest, so you may get a couple. You may get a couple questions. Kandy, you've got a question for Faith. What is your question?
Yeah, my question is more from a driver, like speaking on behalf of drivers. How do you make it with drivers using Square, PayPal, and other payment options? How is using credit cards, like using a service like yours, how could it be very tight together, something that's easy for an owner-operator or maybe one or two trucks to actually utilize on the fly? Besides, I don't know if there's an app, but what would be the benefit of them using a service, a credit card service, versus just a Square or a PayPal or other quick merchant transfers, ways of moving cash fast? What would be that benefit for drivers, for carriers?
The top benefit is going to be the savings, because the companies that you just mentioned, all of those are aggregators and they all charge more than Signature Card Services does. That's the number one. Number two is most of the companies that you just mentioned, they don't have customer service. So if your client or their customer service is you have to email someone. So if your trucker's on the road and they know that they swiped a transaction, but they didn't see the receipt come across, and they want to find out whether or not this transaction went through or not, they want to be able to pick up the phone and call someone that can tell them, yes, we see this transaction in your upcoming batch report. So that's another reason that you'd like to use a service like ours instead of those companies that you just mentioned. And the final reason is because it's you as a business owner, you want to be respected and seen as a true business owner. When you're utilizing certain third-party processors, it's not your own account. You're piggybacking on someone else's account. So it would be kind of like you coming to me as a lender, but telling me that you're going to someone else to borrow the money. No, I want to get the money directly from the source, because if I'm getting the money directly from the source, there's a better chance that I'm paying less and I have more control. So when you're comparing us to those companies in particular, it's a difference. It's a difference between a solid business and, a business that, just wants a way to accept payments, and they can care less about the rate that they're paying. They can care less about their funds getting frozen. They can care less about customer service. They can care less about their account being closed on the whim. I mean, those are the things. I mean, those, don't get me wrong, those companies work really well for some people. I have people that call me that, maybe they really don't like accepting credit cards, but maybe they'll accept a few credit cards a month. Well, hey, that might work for you, because, accepting $1,500 a month, hey, that may be okay. It's not, you don't have as much exposure. But when you have a bona fide company, you want to know that you have someone that's in the business, that knows the business, that is solution oriented on your side, on your team, and you don't want to be limited. So you said, for instance, there's readers that are available in the field. There's readers that are available through just about every credit card processor that you can work with. You just want to make sure that you're getting a reader that is compliant. You want to make sure that it is encrypted, that it's not storing information in your driver's actual equipment. And you want to make sure that it's a reader that, if you are doing a lot of deliveries in rural areas, that actually have pay forward, meaning it's going to hold the credit card information until it gets to a place where it can actually get a connection and charge that credit card. So there's a lot of different reasons that, signature card services would be the better choice when you're looking for an actual payment processor when comparing to those companies in particular.
I think that was pretty. I think you gave a lot of good reasons there. I mean, really, if you're doing this a lot, because you do that. The thought that if there's a hiccup and you can't talk to anybody, there are so many ways that makes a huge difference. Even with somebody receiving their car, they want to be able to talk to somebody. Where's my car? Where's my money? And where's my car?
I'm working with the airline right now, and everything they do is through email, and it's driving me absolutely insane, to the degree that I'll probably never fly that airline again because I don't like the customer service. I mean, I want to hear someone on the other line. I want someone to give me an answer. I want to feel like someone's working for me. If I'm just receiving an email, I don't know what you're doing. You can be over there just laughing up a storm saying she's never getting her money. She's never getting her money, So.
And yet, it's interesting too, is that I find this so interesting. Dealerships are saying that, like, if a service department would just text somebody, your car is ready, your car will be ready in 2 hours. So these different forms of communication are very vital at different points in time. Sometimes you need that phone call. Other times, maybe text or email is fine. But I really appreciate when you talk about good customer service, because I could see that being a really big deal if this is a constant part of your business.
And when
it's a compilation. Excuse me.
When it comes to your money, you want to have good customer service. I wasn't a fan. I don't know what part of the country each of you guys are in, but there was one bank in particular who took out their tellers, and they started having pods. So you would just go into the bank and use a pod. Well, I wasn't a big fan of that. I need to actually be able to talk to someone.
Representative.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I think that part is a compilation between old school and new school. It's like you say, communication is when all parties involved understand. So it's a time, where all you want is to talk to a human, and it's a time where you just want to see that it was done. Go from pending to processed, reviewed.
Well, you know what? And we have both options, because we have 24-hour a day, 7 days a week customer service, but then we also give you a portal, which access to your portal, which is myinfo.com, where you're able to log on and see your transactions, see your batches, see if you had any chargebacks come in. You're able to see all of that right in that portal. So, I mean, it's just like with your bank. If you want to talk to someone, pick up the phone and call. If you just want to see if that check cleared last night, just go onto your online banking. So
that's very good.
Let's see. Okay, this was another piece of information. Payments expert since 1997. You give a bunch of reasons why. To give you a call and talk to you. You talk about it. It's really interesting when you talk about an ISO. That's not like average information.
No, but it's very important for you to educate individuals that you're working with, so that they can understand everything that's involved. An ISO is an independent sales organization. An ISO is your next step to the actual financial institution that's releasing the money. So a lot of times when you're working with, Jenny Jones, processing, she actually might be working for someone who's working for someone who actually has a contract with us. So now that means there's 4 people involved in your transaction, which means there's 4 layers of people getting paid, which is costing you more money. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, everybody wants their cut. If there's any industry that understands middlemen, I think it's car hauling.
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
I mean, there's a time and a place. You know, it's interesting. Kandy runs a terminal, which actually, being near the port, that's a logistical need because you need a way to put a car at a spot so somebody else can get that car and continue the logistical chain. Just as there are terminals across the United States, which are actually, they're tow yards or repo lots, but they call them terminals, and it's a place to leave a car for another transporter to get. Also, I know that Carvana, they don't necessarily use hard terminals, but they have drivers meet, exchange vehicles, and the drivers go, and then so it's a whole, you know, the nation is a chain of trucks meeting each other. So obviously there's a time and a place for multiple layers of middlemen, but when it comes to your money and integrity and the fees that you pay, maybe so many middlemen isn't the ideal situation.
Oh, you, as well as you want to be able to get directly to the source when you're fighting a chargeback. You want to be able to get directly to the source when you're negotiating your fees, when you're trying to figure out why your deposit didn't go in.
Right.
You know?
Right. Hey,
you don't
why didn't it go in? All right, hang on, let me. Right. I'll call you back. Okay, now I got to call Jimmy and Sammy and, you know, right? Yeah, that's.
You know, it's funny because, again, back in the late 90s, early 2000s, when I was, you know, working as an auto broker, dabbing in the auto transport brokering segment a little bit, that's what would happen when someone's car didn't get to them.
Oh, I'm sure.
I'd have to call the driver, and then the driver would tell me, oh, I left it at a terminal, and so this driver picked it up. And then this driver would say, oh, you know what? I got to this other terminal, and another driver was going that way. And it's like, that's not what I agreed to, you know? So
unfortunately, that still happens from time to time.
And you want to get as direct as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Just one of the things, again, when it comes to accepting credit cards, accepting payments, you know, you just want to make sure that you're working with a source that is connected directly to the source, because that's covering you. That's making sure that you have all of the pertinent information that you need. So the example that Kandy gave with her funds being held, she would be able to call her source, which would be Faith Taylor, and I would immediately be able to get with our risk department to find out what's going on with her funds. And then I could paint her a realistic picture and let her know, like, this individual's been doing fraud all over the United States. More than likely, these funds are not going to be put back in your account, but here's a way for you to recoup a portion of it back or recoup all of it back, or let's see if we're able to find out if, you know, what you did right in order to make sure that you're not the one that's left holding the bag when it comes to the loss.
So like when you're talking about fraud detection or, you know, in that area, so if let's say you're a carrier and you're made a deal with an individual to pick up and transport their car, and you get them, you know, you're going to have them pay by credit card, are you able to check on the validity of that card before you enter into the transaction? Do you have that type of ability?
You do. You have two choices. You can call the telephone number that's on the back of the credit card, or you can call your processor and give them the information so that they can confirm the credit card.
That's pretty cool.
Because, I mean, it's really sad to say, but there's a lot of fraud, and sometimes you'll accept a credit card that looks just like your, you know, whatever bank credit card you have in your wallet, and then you'll later find out that it is not a valid credit card. And it's becoming more and more prevalent for online and e-commerce, because now, you know, we have the chip. So the chip is able to deter a lot of the fraud that we used to get back in the, you know, the early 2000s up into probably like 2012, 2013. But if you're keying a card in, or if someone's keying a card in on the other end, that's why it's important to have, you know, different solutions in place to validate that information. Make sure that you have your AVS on. A lot of people don't like to use their address verification system because they say it's going to cause it to be slow, or it's going to cause the credit card to decline. Well, you'd like to know that the credit card that you're using, that it's the address that it's attached to is the address that it's billed to, especially when it's a $2,000 transaction.
Amen. I'm trying to. So, is there anything we didn't touch upon? I'm just trying to check my notes because I mean we talked about a lot of stuff, and I was trying to see if any more questions came in. I think the questions have kind of stopped. Did anybody have anything else that they were thinking that this is last chance?
I do.
Yeah, what?
So can I talk about iTruckPay?
Yeah, please. What do you got?
So iTruckPay is something new that we have. We're just getting started with it. We work with a processor, and we give the brokers and the drivers an opportunity to pay and receive payments. So the broker wants to pay the driver for delivering a vehicle. The driver wants to collect for doing the work that he just did. So instead, there's a lot of situations where a customer would not be able to pay at the point of delivery, a COD, collect on delivery. Yeah. So especially this time of year, you have students going, their father shipping their daughter's car to UCLA, and dad's going, listen, I don't want my daughter to have $1,000 cash on her. I want you, the broker, to take care of the driver for me, please. Mm-hmm. And the broker does. And so he makes the charge on dad's credit card and uses our technology, so he hopefully does not get that chargeback risk. And what we have with iTruckPay is the driver can have a MasterCard that is an iTruckPay card, and it's like a debit card. It works just like a debit card, master debit card. You don't need a credit application for it. You can just apply for it, get it. Your trucking company can get it. You can give it to each one of your drivers, or you can be a single owner operator and still have it. So when you do a job for the broker credits your iTruckPay card, and the driver now has the funds right on his iTruckPay card. So the advantage to the driver and the trucking company is that the cash, even though you have a MasterCard, it's an iTruckPay card, and we have an affiliation with EFS and WEX, where the driver will automatically get the cash price for the purchase of his fuel. So instead of the 5 or 7 or 8 cent increase because he's using a credit card, they don't have that. They automatically get the cash price. And then in addition to that, at Petro, Pilot, and Loves, we have an agreement, an affiliate agreement through that EFS WEX affiliation, where the driver, as he makes that purchase, can get a fuel discount of 5 to 10 cents per gallon. So a driver just using the iTruckPay card, he can get as much as 15 cent savings for each gallon of fuel that he purchases. He can also use that credit card just for any purchase, any restaurant purchase. If he needs to go to a department store and make a purchase, he can do that. He can use it as an ATM for withdrawals. He can take the money off of that card and transfer it to his bank. It's really a strong system that will allow the broker to be able to pay the driver straight away for the work that the driver just did. So it's going to be a tight system. We're really looking forward to getting it into the market. It's brand new, and right now we're actually looking for some carriers, 5 to 10 carriers, from a single owner operator to some companies that have some fleets, multiple vehicles, trucks in their fleet, that we can get iTruckPay cards to the drivers, get it in their hands, and then work with some brokers on loads that they can push the payment right to the credit card. So the owner of the trucking company, he could have 10 cards to 10 drivers, and he could have one guy, and if it's a company truck and he collects $1,000, he doesn't have to give the guy credit to the card who just did the job $1,000. If he wants to spread $200 to 5 cards, he could do that, or $100 to 10 cards, he could do that. So it's versatile, and the trucking company owner has complete control of how those funds are dispersed. So
Wow.
being an owner operator, it's strong. They have complete control. So it's also a way that the trucking companies could pay their drivers if they're contract drivers as well. So they could credit their own card for the drivers, so they would have the funds on there as well, just to get the fuel benefit. The fuel savings benefit is big.
Yeah,
that in itself
it is
big.
Yeah, no, that isn't WEX one of the biggest or the biggest fuel card?
I want to say
I
so.
think
We have
they
an
are.
affiliation, so it's not like a company card. It's not like so they have the affiliation with all of the thousands of
Stations.
fuel
Yeah.
stops
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. You can use it everywhere.
WEX.
But certain ones will also give you an additional. I think every one will give you the cash price. Every one of
Right.
the thousands of fueling stations across the country will give you the cash price.
Right.
There are certain ones that we also have the partnership, Loves, Pilot, Petro, that will also give you the additional purchase discount. So every gallon of fuel that you purchase, you get a discount as well.
Right.
So
Right. That's
we
and
have that.
fuel is a big one, and it's interesting too. Is that there are so many electronic ways to. I'm just going to say this. Did you hear about Facebook's new cryptocurrency?
I did, actually. Yes, I did.
What is going on? I don't even know. I mean, is it Zuckbucks?
I don't know how that's going to relate to
Don't
us.
tell me it's Zuckbucks.
I don't know how that's going to. I don't know what we're going to have. How we're going
I don't know either, man.
So maybe you could fund some Facebook. What do they call it? It's a lira. What's the name of that currency? A lira. A legate. It's something that begins with an L. I can't remember the name of it.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so
But I
it's the
don't
name
know
of the
anything-
currency. So you could use. We'll be able to take with
a
Midwest
lira.
Payment
Yeah.
Processing. Our guy,
It's an
he'll be able to take the
international
Facebook.
money. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be
Yeah.
able to take. We have to
Lira.
work that out.
That's European. I
Lira.
think.
That's
Lira?
what it was. I don't know what it is. It's
I think it
Facebook's. It's the name of their currency.
Oh, it is?
A lira.
A lira.
I think that's.
You know,
what it
that's something for your back when you're having spasms. A lira.
is. Yeah, take two.
Exactly. Take 2 a lira, and don't
Take
go
2.
online. Don't do anything. Don't share your photos.
No, that'll
hey,
hurt your back.
By the way, we
Sure.
got a couple more questions here. Can a credit card be verified with just a zip code?
Well, that's
Can
as
it?
Faith was saying, you need the address verification system. You can. That's a level of protection. That doesn't necessarily. You can use that zip code and choose that to say, okay, so when you get your fuel purchase and you put your credit card in the fuel pump and it says what's your zip code, that's a level of protection for
Right.
everybody.
That's right.
And-
At the
and-
fuel pump, they do that.
Yeah, so
It's simple.
that's typically when they
you're
do
not
that.
gonna be able to
And
guess this, you know.
if you
Right.
just found that credit card on the ground and you thought, I'm going to go fill my truck up, boom, and you put it in, you don't know the zip code, that is a level of protection. So
Yeah.
yes, it is a level of protection to have the zip code.
Yeah. I
So,
see. That makes sense.
I
Just
think that
try yours.
the-
Hope they're local. This guy's local, man. You know, right?
yeah.
Right?
Well,
Right, don't do that.
It's also-
Nobody does this.
It's also a level of protection when you're accepting a payment online, e-commerce, because as a trucker that's accepting a
Gotcha.
payment, you always want to make sure that the person is giving you their billing address for their credit card. Because what happens a lot of times is I'm ordering something and all of my bills go, to a PO box or whatever the case may be, but I put my home address in there. Well, then it's not going to match. Depending upon the level of the address verification, sometimes it will decline the credit card transaction altogether. Some e-commerce, especially our larger e-commerce customers, they actually have it built into their system where it won't decline just because the address doesn't verify, but it will notify them so that they can make a decision whether they want to accept the credit card or not. So it gives you the option of doing a deeper level of research to confirm that
if you're taking a payment and the card is not present, you should always get that address verification.
Definitely.
The card is not present. If the card is not present, when the card is present and you're doing that purchase for fuel and you're putting it in the machine and you're asking for the zip code,
Right.
The card is present. That's a secondary form of verification. But if you're taking a credit card payment over the phone where the card is not present, you have risk. And to minimize your risk, you should use the tools in the system, the address verification system of the address, the billing, the name, all of those things should match. And like Faith said, if it doesn't match and you get a decline and you're afraid of getting a decline, there's a reason something's not right. And you're taking a risk if you do not have your address verification system in force in your gateway. If you have anybody has any questions about that, auto transport brokers, as you do that, we can help you with that in your CRM. We have some technologies to help you with that.
Speaking of, Colin says, is the software to manage the funds on the cards available on mobile device or PC only?
No, you can. It's mobile. You can manage it. You can absolutely manage it. You have an app. There's an app, and you can manage it with the app. Yes.
Faith,
you can check your own balance. You can. So that's for the iTruck Pay. If you're talking,
right.
I think that's what it's referring to.
And I think this is because we're open and we're just keeping this open. Faith, is there a mobile interface
gateway
with signature card also when you work with a client?
Oh, most definitely. So we have our mobile solutions, and basically with our mobile solutions, they have various levels of being able to process. So you can have a mobile solution that has a reader where you're able to take an actual payment in the field utilizing, a card reader. You have the app that's downloadable onto your smart device, whether it be an iPhone, tablet, iPad. You also have a virtual terminal. The virtual terminal is really neat because you can take a payment from any place you have access to the internet. We have pay now buttons, which we can embed right into your website so that if your client, you can be right there with your client, they're ready to pay, you pull your website up on your iPad, hit that pay now button, they put all the information in there. We integrate with a lot of different software solutions that are out there. There's so many different mobile solutions that are available for service. Like you and I talked last night about the fact that there's the service industry world needs it. And it's because they don't have, the ability to carry a big credit card terminal around with them. They need something that can either work with their cell phone, work with their, iPad or tablet, something that can keep them actively accepting payments while they're in the field.
Well, I tell you, I really do believe, like in Kandy's situation, Kandy needs, it seems to me, and hopefully I'm right about this, Kandy.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head already.
Kandy needs somebody that she can talk to and strategize with, and what's great is that it sounds like, Faith, you are perfectly suited to help Kandy moving forward, talk, strategize, and do business. And I love that. It's great. That's what this is all about.
And as I had explained to you before, in doing the different research, knowledge is power. And as much knowledge as I'm able to get in order to pay it forward to my clients to make sure that their businesses are running, they're making their money, they're able to keep their money, they're able to process with current, up-to-date technology, that's what's most important. And you have to know the service or the industry that you're working with in order to provide that type of service.
I know, and you do, and that's so great. How could we have found a credit card processing expert that knows auto transport as much as you do?
Exactly.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
So that's why, I really do appreciate, I know it's getting late, and so I think we're about to wrap this up, but Faith, I really appreciate you taking the time to spend, you've been here an hour and a half. You've spent an hour and a half with us, educating us, sharing information. We've got your phone numbers in the live chat, your email as well. It's signaturecard.com, right?
It's signaturecardservices.com.
Signature Card Service. All right, I'm going to put that since I misspoke, and I I'm not going to write www though. Does anybody still do that? Cards.
I do.
Oh,
No.
come on.
No, they do not.
Dude, go to Z. Just go to ZZZ dot. Nobody does that. Signaturecardservices.com. Okay. All right. And
you want the website address?
yeah, what's your website?
You want to just go to our website? It's just signaturecard.com. I'm sorry.
I had it right the first time. Okay. Not Signature Card Services. Don't go to ZZZ dot. Okay. Go to signaturecard.com.
Yes.
Jeez, already, Jay. Okay, so
please know that again, a consultation costs nothing. Calling me to kind of just let me know what situation you're in, to ask questions, to see if there's an opportunity for you to save money, for you to get into a better position, costs nothing. As well as I'm offering for all of your listeners, free analysis. And basically an analysis is where I'll take their current credit card processing and I'll go in, look it over, see what they're paying, compare it to whatever we determine would be the best scenario to put them in, to see if they're actually paying the absolute lowest price. And it's a side-by-side comparison. In some cases, not very many, we're in situations where people are really getting great deals. And in a lot of cases, I mean, I have customers that walk away saving hundreds to thousands of dollars. So, if you want to know if you're leaving money on the table, just give me a call. I'll do the work.
And that's what I like is that the consultation is free, right? So,
Yeah.
Yeah. Call Faith. I put the phone number in there again, Faith. 323-866-3256. It's also going to be in the description below the show, okay? The phone number, the email address, and signaturecard.com. And that goes for you two guys, Kandy and Mark, for joining us. I'm going to have, I'll have a blurb for you guys in the description below the video. This has been a great panel. I wasn't sure, but I'll tell you what, as I dove into the information, Kandy, when you were telling me all the reasons why people need to find out more about what they're doing with their credit card processing, I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Let's do a show. And we did it.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot of information. I really appreciate the fact that we did this.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
And it's not so much, I don't think it's intimidating, or when a driver comes back to review this, it won't be intimidating.
Yeah.
And I see that a lot of the carriers that I get to meet and visit and deal with are it's not afraid of change, but do not have time to deal with change and trust at the same time with something so near and dear as their money.
That's right.
And when they give me a call, and you'll be so surprised, so many of these guys are calling me while they're on their way to pick up a load or drop off a load, and they have 2 or 3 hours that they're, going across country, and they're asking me questions and they're giving me the information, and, we're getting it done, and it's not really costing them any of their time. So if you're, on the road and you just want to find out if you're paying the best price, you want to find out if you have, the best equipment, the best software solution, if you want to know more about credit card processing for Auto Hauler, just give me a call. That's a direct telephone number, and I'll make sure that I answer all of your questions to the best of my ability.
Awesome.
And Mark, I love I like that iTruck Pay. That's probably going to go really, really far. It reminded me of like 17 years ago when the colleges started putting all of their financial aid on those cards, because it gives you your money right then and there. That was a good idea.
Thank you. So, Jay, can I do a little shout out for that?
Please.
Again,
please.
Ask. So I would itruckpay.com. itruckpay.com. www.itruckpay.com. There's a form on there that it's quick, easy. I need a few carriers that we can beta test to make sure that our systems are working correctly. So 5 to 10 companies, that would be great. I'd love to work with some guys that you don't necessarily have to be in the auto transport industry. You could be a a regular freight broker, it's going to work for everybody. That's going to be a pretty cool thing about it, that it will be for everybody. But right now, if we could just target auto transporters, that's going to be our main focus. And then we have some different tools that are coming out. Dispatch Center, which is coming out. I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more. But the last thing, truckerlife.tv. I know you looked at it today.
Oh, yeah. Truckerlife.tv.
My guy, yeah, truckerlife.tv is a very cool. Our guy, Chris Brock, did a beautiful job of bringing trucking related videos into one spot that you can, just like it's like you're watching TV. They're all YouTube videos. And really what happened when we have all of Jay's auto transport intel videos now on truckerlife.tv. So if somebody wants to do it, they can see all of his videos. And what kind of happened, Jay, when we went to put yours in, our certificate, SSL certificate, needed to be updated, and it needed to be at a higher level than what we had. So that's why it took us a minute to get all of that stuff switched. So we got them in there, and I think great, if you see it now, cool. It really is pretty impressive. And you scroll down on yours, in every one of your videos, you can see and click. I watched probably 2 hours before the show of different videos to see some different things right on truckerlife.tv, not .com, .tv. Truckerlife.tv. And there's also an ad for itruckpay.com there that you could go to and fill out the form for the application and get started on the iTruckPay card.
Okay. And hey, Kandy, JAXPort Storage. What if somebody's in the Jacksonville area and they want to contact you? Where do you get your information?
Really, it's easier to call me. I don't know if you know this, but I took my websites down.
You did?
Man, I got so much business and so many phone calls. My goal is to increase our technology and not our in-house staff.
Yeah.
And
all right. Well, so
I'm not saying I don't want to meet new drivers and new carriers.
I love it when people say, I don't need more business. Man.
No, that's not.
Just kidding.
So her customers may be able, your drivers, Kandy, if a driver doesn't have a Twix card, can they drop at yours and you take it to the terminal for them?
Right.
Yeah, that's what we do. Or if a driver has a problem collecting payment and there needs to be more time to handle the transaction, we're a terminal service, a mediator, a good educator for resources to make sure that, especially a lot of new drivers, just don't go out of business. Most of the time, I just look and analyze to see where they're at in their business platform before I throw my 2 cents in there. Most of them think I'm half crazy anyway, so I just go with it. But that's what we do.
You're half crazy if you take international cards for payment. Don't do that anymore.
Look, I don't even know how he got it past him. I didn't even know. That's my problem. They did it. I never knew.
Faith, she'll help you. She's got a solution for you. Sure.
How did they accept the card and then I get punished?
I think the purpose.
They accepted it.
I think the purpose of this show was to unite Faith and Kandy. I really did.
Hey, I was thinking that earlier. I was like, Jay, I don't want to tell her my client base yet. I don't want to scare her off. So
right.
Kandy, let me make sure I have your phone number. It's 904-444-5730.
Yeah, keep that one. Is that going to be advertised live? Oh crap!
No, it's not. I got 904-267-0011. 904-267-0011. That's the number.
Okay.
But Faith, that other number you said, that's the bat line, so keep that one.
That's
okay.
Yeah. So we all, but it's all good. It's it's late, and so listen. Really, you guys, this was great. I mean, I really appreciate your time, your information. Some people will go back and watch this after the fact. Somebody will be in trouble and need some advice, and they're going to check this out. So listen, you know what, you guys? Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna wrap this up. You know, I'm waving the white flag, and somebody somewhere is going, "Please stop the show." So here's to you guys. For everyone that stuck around, you know, a little bit of Kool-Aid to you. You know, I got the ELD Kool-Aid. Do you know why I have ELD Kool-Aid?
First sip of the show for that, isn't it?
Because ELDs make me so crazy that someone said, you know what, Jay, just drink the Kool-Aid. So you know
Drink
what?
it.
Just
Drink
drink
it.
I'm gonna just
Drink.
See, I would, if I wasn't the host of the show, I would just, you know.
Where is Ty?
I got it right. I gotta try and retain some civility. Okay, you guys, thank you so much for joining. Look for this video to be online on demand very soon, and I'll be in touch, okay?
All righty.
Good
Well, nice
night.
to meet
Thanks,
you.
Jay.
Have a great night.
You too.
You too.
Talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank
Good
you,
night.
Faith. Thank
Hasta
you.
la vista.
Okay, bye,
Good night.
guys. All right, so then we go back to, what is that camera? Let's see here. That is the onboard laptop camera, but that's not our favorite camera. I like this one much better, so I've turned it back on, and now we are ready to finish the show. So let's do this, man. You know, I finished the show. I'm going to run the car hauler, but I want to say this is that if you are accepting credit cards, or you're thinking of accepting credit cards, you have a question about what you're paying, you have a question about security, you've had a fraud alert, you've got questions, contact Faith. So it's ftaylor at Signature Card. It's in the live chat here. Signature Card. Well, Signature Card Services was my mistake. It's signaturecard.com. ftaylor at signaturecard.com. Contact her. You can email her. You can give her a call. She wants to help answer your questions. Yeah, she wants her business too. And maybe you could use somebody that you can actually pick up the phone and talk to rather than email, text, computer, robots, and stuff. So listen, thank you guys for sticking around watching the show. I'm going to run the car hauler. I'm going to wrap it up. You know I'm Jay. I'm Auto Transport Intel. I'm here every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. And I'll be back next week. Next week is kind of a 4th of July show. So I'm celebrating 2 years of being live on the internet. So it's kind of, I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do, but that's the concept as of now. So, you know, I like to kind of wing it. But listen, Gustavo, thanks for sticking around, asking good questions. Candy, Faith, Mark, thank you guys so much. Colin, thanks for your questions. I hope to see you guys next Tuesday night. Be safe out there. Do good business. Be well. And I'll see you in a week. Thanks so much.